but by the way, if you had asked me before doing the research, is the fact of being a Muslim an aggravating factor, I would have told you, yes, it is, clearly. So you demonstrate something a very scientific way, something which was not counterintuitive. What is interesting in your research is that you try to isolate the religious factor. Wow. And I think this is something very, very important. But still, I think it's a bit complex and sometimes ambiguous. It's clear that the term Muslim is ambivalent. In one hand, it refers to somebody who believes in Islam. On the other hand, it refers to somebody who has a Muslim background. It's clear in France how the way to designate immigrants changed, in the last 40 years. In the 70s, it was the Maghrébins, people from North Africa, the Maghrébins. Then it was largely the immigrants, which was the same people, of course, but under a different name. Then largely, in the 80s, the Arabs. And what we saw in the 90s was a shift to the Muslims. And now the term Muslim is used very widely to designate the same population. And it's used largely as a quasi-ethnic term. We have the same things in Great Britain. The Pakis, then the Asians, and now the Muslims. Same people. In Germany, I don't know if now the use of the term Turks is still dominant or no, or it's replaced by Muslims, but it's a general pattern. And now the issue is how to disentangle, if it's possible, and if it makes sense, what is religious or what is quasi-ethnic. And your book is an endeavor, to tackle this issue. So that's, for me, what is very, very important. And your choice of S6, SM is a way to disentangle that. But still, the ambiguity remains. When you, for instance, mention the attitude of the SM towards their country of origin, it's cultural. There is nothing strictly religious. And you may have a younger generation of SM who would consider that it doesn't make sense to send remittances to the country of origin. It's better to build a mosque in Paris. Among the people from Mali, for instance, the big debate is there. Where should be the mosque? For the first generation, no problem. The mosque should be in Mali. But the new generations, now they say, why? We never go to Mali. We are in Paris. We need to have our mosque here where we live. So here we see that there is a disconnect between the religious factor and the cultural factor. They may, but it's a matter of time also. So the problem of the time frame is very, very important. Second and third generation would not react the same way to this kind of issue. And I think, for instance, when it's my problem with the Pew reports, values, what is this term, values, Muslim values, you can have the Salafi formulate, Muslim values very differently from traditional Muslims. So here also we have what I call the autonomization of religion, the fact that the religious factor is less and less, associated with a given culture. Take, for instance, your CV trial, which is very interesting. With Khadija, so the name is a quasi-ethnic fact. You can be an atheist Khadija, but if you are called Khadija, well, you come from the south. Okay. But then you introduce elements of religious militancy to work, in Secours Islamique is heavily loaded, as somebody who is, she is a believer and practicing Muslim. If she had worked for Secours Populaire, well, maybe that would have been a difference, It's very interesting, the research on the directors of human resources. They all mention, when they ask them, do you have a problem with Muslims? They all mention religious factors. But they know very well that, in fact, most of the Muslims, because they have Muslims, it's not like they have only FFF or Essex, and suddenly they are requested to employ Muslims, so they have a problem. No, they have Muslims already, but they mention exclusively religious attitudes, and not ethnic or cultural attitudes. And I think, in a sense, it's true, director of human resource has a problem with somebody doing the 5 prayers and fasting during Ramadan. It's a fact. So either the guy go on with his job, and there might be problems, and there have been problems, or the guy asks for exemptions, asking, for example, to work exclusively in the morning during the Ramadan and things like that. So for the DRH, it's not Director of Human Resources. It's not necessarily discrimination. There is an objective problem of organizing the work. But it's not racism, because he doesn't speak about culture. He doesn't say, for example, they don't say, oh, we have a problem with the Arabs because they are not friendly with women and so on. So no. It's strictly religious. And, we have regularly this shift, sometimes we are in culture, sometimes we are in religious issue. It's normal, because it's very often difficult to disentangle both. But the consequences are very important, even if it's a bit artificial to disentangle religious practice from cultural attitudes. First, it's growing. The difference between both is growing because of the change of generation. And second, because it has an impact of what to do, on how to think about the public space. And your conclusion here is very interesting because if I'm not mistaken, you make a clear difference between Islamophobia and xenophobia, which means that Islamophobia, it's on religion, while xenophobia, it's the usual racism. And that there is a specific issue of religion. And I think you're right. You're right. The problem is always the same. It's how to make a clear distinction. So now, and it will be my conclusion, if we consider that there is Islamophobia, what is the status of Islamophobia? Or more exactly, what is the status of religion in France? It's why I'm not very happy about your Christian heritage societies. Christian heritage, yes, historically, of course, yeah, it's a Christian, hopefully you didn't say Judeo-Christian heritage. Yes, there is a Christian heritage, clear, But the issue now is not about the Christian heritage. The issue in France is laïcité, and laïcité is not a Christian heritage. The French laïcité is anti-religious. Strongly anti-religious. It started as being anti-Catholic against the church, so it was a political battle, but a political battle which went very far. Don't forget that in 2004, the army was sent to the schools to expel veiled women, the nuns. The nuns who were teaching, have been expelled by the army, and there have been some deaths. An example I mention regularly, the police notes, on individuals, the police files. There are regularly problems. For instance, workers who ask for a security clearance at Roissy Airport, they are checked they are vetted by the police. and you find on the file somebody has a Muslim name, so there is automatically an inquiry about his or her practices, and you have never goes to the church, okay, to the mosque, never goes to the mosque, okay, perfect. Drink alcohol, wow, perfect, prays once a day, but okay. Prays 5 times a day, clearance refused, But it's an old tradition. In the same year, in 1904, the Ministry of Defense, General André, organized a system of, of classifying the colonels before promoting them general, and there was exactly the same file. Goes to the mosque, to the church every Sunday. Goes with a prayer book. Goes to the church only when it's the baptism of his little niece. Okay, in this case, the guy is promoted general. But if he goes every week with a prayer book, no promotion. So here, it's not an heritage legacy. It's a tradition of a militant and political laicity. And laicity now is turning anti-religious. You mentioned it, and you are perfectly right. When you ask people in the street, what is laicity? 80% of the French will tell you it means that religion is private, which is not legally and constitutionally the case. The law of 1905 doesn't say anything about religion being private, because the law has nothing to say about what is private. The law is about the public space. The law is about regulating religious practices in the public space, cult practices. Religion is not a matter of belief. It's a matter of practice. If it were only beliefs, who cares about beliefs? It's a matter of practice. And you have this shift of laicity, mainly because of Islam, I agree with that, as an anti-religious feeling, more than feeling, which is, the consequence is to expel religion from the public sphere. Now the Catholic bishops are complaining, about this new kind of laicity. The head of the Protestant Church made a speech 2 days ago and speak about the anti-religious laicity. So the debate is not so much on Christian identity of France. A part of the right, yes, speak about Christian identity. But when you listen Sarkozy speaking of Christian identity, well, he's not a very good parishioner. But Marine Le Pen doesn't speak much about Christian identity. She speaks about laicity. So the term now, which is used to qualify the French identity as opposed, of course, to Islam, is laicity. And regularly, the forbidding the veil entails forbidding the kippah. Forbidding halal entails forbidding kasher. And any attitudes towards Islam has an immediate consequence, first on Jews, because the many practices are in common, but also on the Catholic Church and evangelicals. The police regularly raid also the evangelicals, especially when they are black. That's true. My concern is here. Yeah, the issue is about religion. We have a traditional racism, which will go on, but the change is about religion, and it has an impact not just on Islam, but an impact on the whole public space. So there is something which I think we should look at a bit more closely. Thank you very much.